HITC Sport, and right now, half the population of England are right now drooling through their teeth over possible England squad picks and formations for this summer's Euro 2021. But just remember, despite how many good players you might have, your manager is still about as inspiring as wet broccoli. But for years, right, English players have been utterly terrified about the prospect of ever leaving England. But that has started to change in recent years. So now finally, what would a 23-man England squad look like for Euro 2021 if you could only pick players who play outside of England? Let's just see what it actually looks like. Right, let's go. Although, quick spoiler, yes, he's out of retirement, but not in the pigeon's left ear canal am I going to be picking a 39-year-old Titus Bramble. You'd have me committed to an institution otherwise. Joe Lewis, Aberdeen. Okay, let's be honest, there are no good English goalies playing abroad. So already this is off to a bad start. Joe Lewis is a 33-year-old Aberdeen #1. He's a championship level standard goalie. Just give him the damn gloves. Jonathan Bond at LA Galaxy. Again, here's a former Watford, Reading and West Brom goalkeeper who's currently out at LA Galaxy in the MLS. So yeah, just stick him on the bench and hope and pray that you don't have to pick him. Jack Anick, St. Mirren. Yeah, St. Mirren's #1 now, Jack Anick. Listen, I've seen him play at Newcastle. I wouldn't trust him to butter a slice of toast unattended. Never mind keep goal for a national team, so just third choice goalie and no more. KIERAN Trippier at Atletico Madrid. Alright, finally, here's a footballer that doesn't threaten to make this bunch of abroad English players resemble a farm for dyslexic sheep. Listen, KIERAN Trippier is a respectable, top-class right back. Sure, last season for Spurs, he stumbled about like a goose with Tourette's. No doubt daydreaming about that Croatia goal every 32 seconds. But he's a first choice Atletico Madrid right back sitting top of La Liga. Some Tottenham fans will try to tell you he's a defensive bird brain. Absolute waffle, because I'm sorry. If a defensive specialist like Diego Simeone continues to pick you, you don't exactly have meatballs for brains now, do you? James Tavernier, Rangers. Yeah, dipping back up to Scotland to find Trippier's deputy at right back. Take your place on the bench, James Tavernier. Sure, this guy was a dried up old fig road at Newcastle. Just some young right back who couldn't get past either James Perch or Danny Simpson. Honestly, I'm convinced Alan Pardew rated him the same way you'd rate a dead slice of cheese found out the back of your couch. To be fair though, despite failing in English leagues, mostly melting like a fat cream egg, this former Gateshead defender has over 200 games for Rangers. But not only that, he scored over 60 goals for the club from defence. Lads, I don't care that it's the Scottish leagues. He's a right back on course to register 20 goals and 20 assists this season. In one goddamn season. The man has been single-handedly responsible for nearly 40 goddamn goals. I don't care that it's mostly against cottage pie defensive lines, against goalkeepers with wrists made of pasta. That is still damn impressive. You might say,
oh, any self-respecting international footballer would eat him for breakfast.
Go back to November and Rangers were playing Benfica with Tavernier up against left winger Everton Suarez. You know, Neymar's strike partner with Brazil, and Tavernier left that stadium with 2 assists and a point, so take your seat on the bench, Jimmy T. Chris Smalling, Roma. Alright, so here's the big daddy defensive unit in the center of the back four. Step forward, Roma's Chris Smalling. Okay, to be fair, the guy's been an injury-riddled mess this season, with knee inflammation, bicep muscle problems, sprains. Lads, he even missed 1 game with food poisoning. Lads, that's not even the first time it's happened in his career. It happened to him 5 years ago at Manchester United too. So maybe, Smalling, just an idea, maybe stop eating hot dogs that you found stuffed in the toilets at KFC. I know it's tempting, but maybe it's not too good for your bowels. Christ, it'll probably taste of melted plastic. Listen, don't get me wrong, Gareth Southgate might think this guy is about as much use as a dried lump of earwax, but he's an experienced 31-year-old defender who excelled in Serie A last season. He's played over 30 times for England, over 300 times for Man United. He's a 2-time Premier League champion without a doubt. Get yourself in this starting 11. Oh, by the way, I was trying to hit 500,000 subscribers anytime soon. If you like the content and want to see more of this stuff, slap that subscribe button. And yeah, that's about it. Let's get back into it. FIKAYO, TOMORI, AC Milan. Yeah, here's a starting centre-back partnership born in Italy. But lads, when you're being dealt the painful handicap of only picking outside the Premier League, then a centre-back pairing of defenders from Roma and AC Milan, it doesn't sound half bad. Listen, TOMORI is a talented 23-year-old centre-half who's been on the books at Chelsea since 2005. To put that in context, he's been at the club nearly as long as Roman Abramovich. He's currently one of the first picks in the AC Milan team sheet. You know, a club who specialise in world-class centre-halves. Oh, and he's already played for England once before. Lads, Smalling and TOMORI is a pretty decent centre-back partnership. REECE, Oxford, Augsburg. Yeah, this is where things get a bit tricky. Picking REECE Oxford for England in 2021, a guy who briefly peaked 6 years ago, honestly, it'd be like wanting Wagner to sing at your wedding. I'd rather drink a pint of cat vomit. Anyway, yes, Oxford pocketed Mesut Ozil as a 16-year-old child for West Ham before fading into obscurity, but playing as a centre-half in a back three for Augsburg in the Bundesliga. He's done pretty well, winning 2 Man of the Match awards this year, and he's 22 now, so no longer has the muscle tone of a pencil. Listen, as a third choice centre-half sitting on the bench, You could do worse. Stephen Cocker, Alanyaspor. Yeah, picking Stephen Cocker for England is very much a Roy Hodgson thing to do. And while he was England boss, he mostly resembles someone who had escaped a nursing home for the criminally insane. But lads, hear me out. Stephen Cocker is no longer the distracted wet cabbage who failed at QPR, Southampton, Liverpool and Dundee. After struggling with alcohol and gambling and depression, he since rebuilt his career, and now at the age of 29, he's quietly doing well for Alanyaspor. This guy's currently trying to claw his way into the Scotland squad for the Euros, but as fourth choice England centre back under these rules, you could do a lot worse. Ashley Young, Inter Milan. Yeah, here's the captain playing left back for England. I know, most of you would rather eat a hamburger that just fell out of a cow's arse than ever contemplate Ashley Young as England captain, playing left back at 35 years of age. But lads, if he's good enough for Antonio Conte and Inter Milan, starting 18 games this season for a team about to win Serie A, a team 10 points above Ronaldo, then he's damn good enough to start for this patchy England team. Ryan Sessegnon, Hoffenheim. Now, you all probably expected to see the Scouse Cafu in here, right? John Flanagan. And most human beings with working brains would rather make love to a hole in their foot than pick this left back playing in the same Belgian dump as Slido Berahino. So yeah, obvious answer is Ryan Sessegnon to play backup second fiddle to Ashley Young. Once rated as a £50 million Barcelona-bound Fulham wonder kid, and he's now 20, being largely ignored by Jose Mourinho before being banished to the Bundesliga. Although, to be fair, that worked out pretty well for Kevin De Bruyne. Sessegnon has been a mixed bag while alone at Hoffenheim, but hey, just stick the 20-year-old kid on the bench. Ronaldo Vieira, Hellas Verona. Imagine calling your son Ronaldo Vieira and chucking him into an academy at Benfica. You're almost begging for him to get bullied in the canteen. Plays above the weight of expectation of having those two iconic footballing powerhouse names. Listen, his dad's paternal name is Nan. Great, stick that one on the back of your shirt then. Then instead of being compared to two footballing world stars, you'll just be compared to old biddies who spend their afternoons knitting jumpers, drilling out their nose, and desperately trying to remember the names of their grandkids. Listen, Vieira is a Sampdoria midfielder. Out alone at Hellas Verona in Serie A. He was born in Guinea, raised in Portugal, moved to Whitley Bay in 2011 when he was 13, briefly studied at York College, was about to sign for York City before signing for Leeds instead, and has since played a bunch of games for the England underage teams. Yes, he's mostly been injured this season, but recently played against Ronaldo. You know, the real one at Juventus? At 22, he walks into this starting 11. Jude, Bellingham, Borussia, Dortmund. And here we have the star of the midfield. Arguably the player to make this England team work. I don't care that he was born in June 2003. I don't care this fella was only learning how to walk and probably taking dumps in his mother's flower pots during Euro 2004. I don't care he's a 17-year-old child. He'd be this team's midfield linchpin. He's already played 35 times for Borussia Dortmund this season. And sure, his numbers aren't great. 1 goal and 4 assists. What is he, Glenn Whelan in disguise? But he is a very good player, and here I would stick him as a deep-lying midfielder alongside Vieira in a 4-2-3-1. Noni Madueke, PSV. Lads, remember the name Noni Madueke. A 19-year-old PSV wonder kid who's banged in 9 goals and registered 8 assists this season. For a Europa League level team, he's a fella born in London, went to the Tottenham Academy, played a bunch of games for the England underage teams, turned down Man United and Chelsea to move to PSV, and lads, he's been utterly brilliant. Stick him in the number 10 role in this England team, with Bellingham and Vieira providing protection midfield behind him, and you could do a lot worse. Angel Gomes, Boavista. I hope Angel Gomes doesn't watch this video, or he'll probably feel like getting sick in his hand. This guy was a Manchester United wonder kid, a fella on their books for 14 years, and the youngest player to represent the Man United first team since Duncan Edwards in the 50s. By now, at 20, the guy would probably be expected to be first pick in England's midfield under Gareth Southgate. But yeah, despite scoring a few goals in the Portuguese league with Boavista, he still can't make the starting 11 for a national team unable to pick anyone from the Premier League. Instead, just take your seat on the bench behind Noni Madueke. That has to be seen as a failure for him. Trevo Chalobah Lorient. Yeah, here's a utility man to bring off the bench just in case of injury. You know, the squad's answer to Eric Dyer. He's 21, still on the books at Chelsea after 14 years of being strung along. He's currently a starting centre back at Lorient, who are stuffed in a French relegation scrap. But lads, he can play in midfield too, so go on Chalobah. Get yourself a book and sit on that bench. I want to talk about footballers can't read. Jadon Sancho, Borussia Dortmund. And here we have the utter star. The magician, the guy to place all your hopes on. Jadon Sancho, at 20 years of age, is by far and away the best English footballer playing outside of the Premier League. You already know all about him. Since quitting Man City, he's got 36 goals and 50 assists in the Bundesliga. For a 20-year-old child, those stats are utterly insane. Make no mistake about it, had he done the Phil Foden thing and chose to stick it out in the Etihad, then trust me, he would currently be starting week in, week out for a Man City team top of the Premier League. Get this fella splashed on that right wing. Bright OSAYI-SAMUEL, Fenerbahce. Yeah, here we have Sancho's deputy ready to step off the bench as an impact sub, 23-year-old right winger, Bright OSAYI-SAMUEL. who instead of trying to fill the void left by Ebereki Edzi, chose to quit QPR for Fenerbahce in January, and I'm pretty sure James Lawrence Alcott hasn't stopped trying since. The guy's skillful, he's got bags of pace, and despite leaving Spain for England age 10 before being stuffed in Blackpool's academy, he's been utterly ignored at all levels by the FA. Not one single underage cap to his name. And yeah, when Tom Ince impressed at Blackpool, the guy was nearly sold to Inter Milan. I mean, come on. OSAYI-SAMUEL will probably eventually declare for Nigeria instead, but right now he's eligible, and so yeah, get yourself on that bench. Marcus Edwards, Vitoria de Guimaraes. Okay, how can you not put this guy in this squad? I know he's another right winger, but he's got a £45 million release clause at Vitoria de Guimaraes, who West Ham apparently wanted before they went for Jesse Lingard in January. He's a 22-year-old Tottenham Academy graduate who Pochettino compared with Messi in 2016. He spanked in a stunning goal against Arsenal last season. He'd be a brilliant option off that bench. DEMARAI Gray, Bayer Leverkusen. And now the starting left winger playing opposite Sancho. Step forward, DEMARAI Gray. Listen, yes, DEMARAI Gray is explosive pace and quick feet, but his end product will make blood pour out your ears. He's doing quite well in Germany though. He scored in his debut for Bayer Leverkusen before chipping in with 2 assists, but I'm sorry. Selling Kai Havertz to replace him with Gray is a bit like replacing a steak sandwich with an empty yogurt pot. But still, I would have him starting opposite Sancho on the left wing. Ryan Kent, Rangers. And now Gray's second in command, sitting on the bench, is Liverpool Academy graduate Ryan Kent. Anyway, he's got 11 goals and 13 assists from the left wing for Rangers this season, including a few in the Europa League, so yeah. Steffi Mavrididi, Montpellier. Yeah, this is where things get really sticky. I'm only bringing 2 strikers because there are no good English strikers playing abroad. My starting centre forward will be Steffi Mavrididi. Anyone heard of him? Lads, here we have an actual striker born in Derby who played up front with Paulo Dybala for Juventus once. He's trained with Ronaldo, and yet Southgate probably doesn't even know who he is. He's probably about 91st choice striker in the normal pecking order for your country. Well lads, trust me, the sad fact is, if he was born in Galway or Mayo, this guy would be first choice centre forward for my country. How embarrassing is that? Anyway, this 22-year-old Arsenal Academy reject has 8 goals for Montpellier in Ligue 1 this season, including 1 against PSG, which isn't bad, so go on. Starting number 9 centre forward, Kemar Roof, Rangers. And now the last pick in the list. Okay, Kemar Roof is currently trying to get himself a Jamaican passport, but right now the guy is still eligible for England. And under these rules, where you ban the manager from picking anyone else in the Premier League, then a fellow who's banged in over 30 goals for Leeds, and so far 12 in his title-winning debut season for Rangers, then yeah, take your seat on that bench. Anyway, that's it. Let me know, how do you think that squad would do? It wouldn't get out of the damn group, would it? But let me know how you think it would do. Let me know some other picks I didn't pick. I'm sure there's a bunch out there. Let me know in the comments below. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.